All right, everyone, now we need to talk about Bidenomics because recently you've seen over the last week the mass deployment of propaganda by CNN, MSNBC, and others to try to prop up the public perception of the Biden economy, nearing 7% inflation. You've still got shortages, although Biden pretends not. You've got massively high gas prices still. I love it how Biden's saying, well, we lowered gas prices 10 cents over the last few weeks. That's great, but gas prices went up like $1.50, almost universally. I love how he's like, well, this small part of the United States has gas prices that are down kind of close to where they were before. Of course, that's within $1, but he's taking credit for that fuzzy math anyway. And so his economic chops are poor, and his approval on the economy has been pretty low since day one. There hasn't, I think, been a single polling period where his approval on that issue actually was above water, including during his first 100 days, called the sweetheart period, the honeymoon period for presidents, which he screwed himself so bad he didn't really get 100 days. So his approval was low. And again, this is with the legacy media either not reporting on economic news, which they did before, or more recently spinning the reports, ignoring the inflation, ignoring shortages, ignoring that stuff, and just focusing on, well, there were jobs created this month. Yeah, it came in below what it was expected, but that doesn't matter. Hey, Biden's doing a great job. I like how they're trying to appropriate the term Bidenomics as well and spin it to be positive. They're also trying to do that with Let's Go Brandon or the I Did That stickers. It's been very, very funny to watch their impotent struggle to convince the American people the economy is strong. His approval on the economy is so low that it has now gone below what Jimmy Carter was at in 1977. So his approval on the economy is worse than the stagflationary economy that people suffered under during the 1970s in the United States. You remember the oil shocks? Also affected gas prices. High unemployment, high inflation, all other metrics pointing negative at the time as well. One thing you didn't have, at least at first, was the kind of economic shortages you have, which feed into inflation some. The other thing that you didn't have was a president that was very poor at explaining his economy. This is why they've outsourced it to the now state-run legacy media. At this point, the legacy media is no longer even an oligarchic, semi-independent conglomerate of globalistic corporations. They have effectively become nothing more than a Biden mouthpiece. And it's not working. His approval remains very, very low, especially on this issue. Keep in mind, I don't think there's a single thing that is routinely polled on at this point in which Biden is actually above water. For a long time, he was on COVID. People perceived him as doing a better job because they were comparing it to all the propaganda hyperbole that they heard under Orange Man. Well, Orange Man bad. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying. Here's our daily tracker. Here's the news ticker showing you how many little children have withered away and rotted in a hospital bed because of evil fascistic Trump. You'll notice the second that Biden was elected, those tickers went away. Well, yeah, that's definitely helped to preserve his approval on that particular issue for a little bit longer than otherwise would have been the case. Biden has overseen more deaths than Trump, and I seem to remember that all these journos thought that Trump was singularly the one to blame when people were dying then. And now it's the red state governor's fault, even though if you look at Florida's case totals and then New York's, you'll see a little bit of a discrepancy in the opposite direction. Jimmy Carter is remembered, at least in the modern sense, as the worst president economically that we've had. Biden is at or below his level. The other thing is that Joe Biden has only been in his asterisk office for less than a year. Jimmy Carter at least finished out a term. Jimmy Carter's approval at the last minute began to collapse against Ronald Reagan. By the way, initially he was favored to win, partially because Ronald Reagan was viewed as not having enough experience and being too old. That was a big problem. He's going to shrink the government and take your welfare away. He's going to axe Social Security. It was a big problem for Reagan messaging style because he was run through the same ringer that Donald Trump was by the propagandistic legacy media. It seems like when they're really afraid of a person in politics, the oligarchic media turns into the state media temporarily, and all of the liberals start making excuses for why they should burn books and censor people. It's happened before. It's certainly happening now, I would say. it's going to be really difficult. And this is a CNN report, so this comes from the legacy media. Even they're reporting on it because it's so terrible for Biden. I don't really see a way back for Joe Biden from these approval levels on the economy. We know that inflation, according to the most optimistic estimate we can get, which is from the Fed, which has no reason to want to make people pessimistic in this economy, we know that according to them it won't even peak. I mean it won't be going away till the middle of next year. Citi and other groups, big banking groups, firms that analyze these things, and again, they want investment to flow. They make money when people feel positively about the economy. They're expecting it not to peak until February. So you still have to get through the rest of this month and January, and then according to Citi, sometime in February inflation will peak. Nobody says anything about how long it'll take to recede and how much deflation you would need thereafter to restore prices to the old norm. It's never going to happen. You have had effectively a permanent haircut off of your income. You've had a permanent change in your wealth for the negative unless you have a lot of tangible assets. That class starts at people making $500,000 a year or more. For those people under Biden, they're all right. And for people that are very rich, they've done very well. I love it when people like Bernie Sanders ramble and rave about the evil billionaire class that don't pay enough taxes and have too much wealth. Biden is effectively handing the money hand over fist. He's piling money into their coffers. Pfizer and Moderna have gained huge billions and billions of dollars. I wonder, Johnson & Johnson, I wonder why. Although Moderna, I think, slid backwards the other day. Their stock prices didn't do so well after their CEO came out with his panic mode. Amazon, when you close down all the small businesses, guess what? Walmart gains share. Amazon, when local stores are closed, Amazon gains shares. It's inevitable. You're the ones giving them the money. Meanwhile, 99% of the population has lost wealth. It's like when I look at my income. My income has risen over the last year. I'm selling more books by a reasonable margin. I think that virtually all of that additional income that I'm making has been gobbled up in terms of hikes in price. I think that I've basically, I managed to break even, which is more than you can say for 99% of the population. I feel very lucky about that. But I'm not really happy because I'm working harder, I'm making more stuff, selling more units, etc. And technically speaking, if I look at the rise in the cost of living, which does affect the Netherlands too, there are U.S. products here, globalized economy, what happens in one country tends to affect the others. It's semi-shielded from it, especially here in this particular kind of economy because of the way the Netherlands operates, but it's there. And so when I go to the store, buy things denominated in euros. The exchange rate, it's all right, I guess. There's a little bit of a loss there in the transactions, of course. If I'm making 5% more, but I'm also paying 5% more for everything, what kind of raise did I actually get? And for most people, it's not even that good. For most people, they're seeing prices that are 15-20% higher, especially gas and a few other things, and meat prices, which Elizabeth Warren blames on several Brazilian meat packing companies, actually, which is hilarious. We've got meatflation now, too. Certain staple goods, certain services, because people are demanding more money because of inflation. So they're passing the price on to people that aren't in that producing, maybe self-employed or service class. Everyone else has to absorb that. Corporations, of course, they're not going to be the ones to absorb the hit. They're going to raise prices, pass it on to consumers as well. People are paying, again, 15-20% more. How many people got a 15 to 20% increase in their salary or their wages? How many people got a 15 to 20% bonus? Not very many people. The 1%ers did. they didn't absorb the cost. People at the very bottom, their welfare income increased. They're all right because, they're at the bottom of the totem pole, so they're still living on breadcrumbs. Everybody else, something like 80% of the population, suffers horrifically. And they're still, the legacy media, still attempting to convince people that Bidenomics is a virtue, the economy is actually doing pretty well. Hey, look, wages are growing at a fast level. Yeah, it's way behind the inflation, the growth of prices. But they don't report on that. They're hoping that people won't notice it, but the problem is that people go shopping. They go to fill up their car. They know what the prices are. They can see them rising in real time. I've seen so many people, they've sent me pictures or videos from grocery stores of price stickers and of shortages and of everything else. Gas pumps with Biden stickers, I did that all over them. It's clear. I don't think this is going to reverse itself. The amount of economic damage done by the price hikes is going to continue to hurt people for years to come. Even if you went deflationary mode for a while, it would take a long time of really pronounced deflation in order to get back to those prices. It's not going to happen. That's not the way the economy works. The best you can hope for is that the growth of the economy and wages outpaces inflation for a very, very long time. It would take years to heal that damage. Until then, and trust me, that won't occur unless we get a populistic president and an all-Republican House and Senate back in there so that we can impose reform on the economy and actually build that wealth. You have permanently lost part of your wealth. And people at the bottom and in the middle have disproportionately been the ones paying the bills. They're going to continue to be asked by Joe Biden to pay the bills. He's not going to bite the hand that feeds him and get it from the evil billionaires, from his donor class, bankster, and corporate buddies. That's about all. Peace out.